John,
Okay.
you're next. Well, we're good. The next album is the Teardrop Explodes with Kilimanjaro from 1980. This comes in at number 437 in the 1980s on Best Ever Albums, number 55 in 1980, number 2,778 of all time. It is their highest rated album in Best Ever Albums, and they come in as our second lowest rated artist in Best Ever Albums, coming in number 1,635 of all time. And where'd this album come from before you tell us your take, John? How did you hear about this?
The albums to listen to before you die.
Got it.
This one was on there. I had never listened to this album. I had been aware of this album because it often came up in lists of best of albums. And I know they're a band that didn't last very long. I feel like we've had a lot of those in the post-punk era, right? They burned bright and then faded out a little bit. Where's this album been my entire life? Holy cow, was this a great album? Jeez, oh man. Like, I was immediately taken by this album. It's sonically, it's very much in my wheelhouse, I would say. It sounds like indie rock, and the indie rock that we're gonna get. And the guitar parts are weaving guitar parts, which I love. There's almost like a performance art piece to this as well, like a very like over the top sound and lyric element to this album as well. I am gonna go out on a limb and say, Matt, that you love this album. Am I correct in saying
you are correct, John?
Yeah, man, because I said this is an album that is like right up. I identified it as like a Matt's Choice album right off the bat, but it was a Matt's Choice album in a way that like you and my Venn diagram completely overlap. So I'll tell you what, why don't we run this as like a joint like review, the two of us right now, because I think we heard this is where like I think me and you hear music the same way, and every once in a while, remember I said I don't always know, but like I know an album that's going to represent one that Matt and I like and share the same take on.
Yeah.
So Matt, tell me why you like this album, and then I'll jump in and kind of expand on mine.
I love the energy of this, first and foremost, and I think they have a lot of interesting elements kind of putting together. You've got, again, there's a lot of horns in here, and you get that right off the bat with "Ha Ha, I'm Drowning," and it just that's a great opening track. It just kicks off everything, a lot of energy, and the guitar part that's
too.
yeah, and the guitar part's great, and the horns, and it just gets you going. I like the guy's voice. He definitely sounds. It's another one of those voices that sounds very British, the way that he's kind of the inflection there. But then there's also parts of this have like a little psychedelia going on. There's a Doors element to this with some of the keyboard playing, and then you've got like a song like "Sleeping Gas," the second song, which is just like this. It's another one of those repetitive kind of very it has a groove, and it kind of keeps through the whole thing, but it's so good. That's only 3:46. That's a song that could go, like a Killing Joke thing, that you could take that vibe and bring that out a couple more minutes, and I would be fine with that. And Sherry I think it was Sherry that said this to me. She said this kind of sounded a little like it had a little LCD sound system, or I can't remember if I was talking to her about it. One of us was saying that it says a little bit of an LCD sound system vibe here, which I'm not the biggest LCD sound system fan, but in some of the stuff that they do, I do like. But there's kind of like that element. There's a danceability here. There's a repetitive kind of nature to this that they can do as well. It's not as electronic though. It's more I wouldn't say you're not using as many of the electronic sounds that LCD sound system might, but there's just a ton of energy here. There's a lot of great hooks. It's a fun record. I really liked it because of and it just hit on all those things, which I love. So,
well, I did a little bio out of curiosity about this, and apparently this band was compared to the Doors a lot when they came out, which I can see. Like as I went and afterwards, I was like, that's interesting that they draw the comparison. I think because the organs and the keyboard, were
and the psychedelic. There. So there is a psychedelic element to their sound as well in some of the songs.
Yeah. And the lead singer has a little bit of Morrison. Yeah. But go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to jump in and say that I did hear that psychedelic element when I was listening.
Even the cover of the album looks like it's from the 60s.
Yep.
Kind of, it's got like that hazy kind of, lighting vibe. Like, so even that kind of draws on that as well.
For sure. Well, Josh, what did you think?
Yeah. I liked it too. I think you guys were a little higher on it than me. I think again, this is another one I want to re-listen to. I didn't hear as much of the. I guess I heard it more as like a British new wave album almost. It reminded me of like Duran Duran a little bit in terms of tone.
I can see why you say that.
Yeah, my favorite song was Treason, which sounded like almost like a Duran Duran song, and I agree. The choruses were really catchy. They really had not only the horns, they incorporated those in a fun, effective way, but their synth is really good, like on Went Crazy and When I Dream, the last track. I really like the chorus on that as well. I liked kind of how everything really came together on this. The drums are really good as well and prominent on a song like Second Head. I didn't really pay attention. I kind of paid attention to the lyrics. I think the song titles are a little tongue in cheek. I think they're being cheeky, and they
bouncing babies.
Yeah, or Brave Boys keep their promises. I think
they are. Yeah,
yeah.
Brave Boys keep their promises. Are particularly interesting.
Yeah,
I also like it's not that tongue. It's just books. Like
yeah,
a song called Books,
which also has really good horns in it. So I'm with you guys. I think this album is for a band that I had never heard of.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised by it and enjoyed listening to it, and I think definitely one that I want to go back to.
Yeah,
they've got.
Books is a funny song because it's got that chorus. Who wants love without the looks? I've read about it in books. It's kind of like it's supposed to be like a literary love, but he's kind of saying, it's there's a part where he goes, "Our love is strong and it's getting much stronger. It may take a week, but it won't take longer." So there's that. You know what I mean? There's that sort of tongue-in-cheek humor as well.
I think Went Crazy too mentioned something about like being fans of mental health or something like that.
I'm trying to. I wrote down some things that I like. I didn't put anything on that, but I'm quickly looking at the lyrics real quick. The last line is, "Oh, we're in love with beauty. We're in love with health. We're in love with mental health. I'm going crazy."
Yeah, that was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But you're right, Josh. There's also it's a very much of a new wave feel to this as well. There's definitely times where this sounds kind of like not vocally, because it doesn't sound like that vocally, but sonically and musically, like the B-52s or like like Talking Heads. There's kind of like that bouncy kind of nature to some of their stuff. But yeah, this was my find of the week. This was the album I probably enjoyed this album most of all the ones we did this week. It was very surprising. Never heard of these guys. So you said they don't have many albums, I guess. John?
3 in total.
They have 3.
Yep.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So another one of those bands that kind of pieced out.
I love the variety of this album too, by the way. It's a lot of the albums we listened to this week had a similar sound throughout the album. I did not feel that way on this. I think because of the varied instrumentation, and I just thought I think Cope is the last name of the singer, and I think he did a good job of presenting himself vocally different across the different. Like I said, there was a theatrical element to it at times. There was sort of a more tongue-in-cheek, straight-ahead singing at different times, but he varied enough to keep me interested, and the drumming varied as well. Sometimes it was very percussive, and then very percussive and continuous, and sometimes it was minimalist. I wouldn't say it was necessarily to keep the time drumming a lot of times, but the drums were different in each song in terms of what their function was, which I appreciated.
There's cool bass lines in here too, I would say.
For sure. This is a strong recommend for me. I really like this album a lot.
Yep. Good call.
It's going to be one of the ones right now so far that's highest on my list, I'd say.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
For sure.